Hey there! So today's video is going to be about the sextant. Now then, I've been listening to Nathan Oakleys' debate on and off now for the past couple of months, and there's been this massive push for the idea that the sextant only works on a flat plane, and that to use it on a globe, you would get false measurements. Now, this is being pushed by 10th Man and Nathan Oakley, and it seems like the rest of the crew have got on board with this. Now, it's interesting, it's interesting that for well over a year, 10th Man has been studying the sextant, right? For well over a year. And he's seen as this kind of mastermind for the sextant and how it works. And his idea, let me just see if I can show you over here. Let's have a look here. So his idea is that you need a 90 with a sextant. So you line up to the horizon. There's you on the boat in the center there. You line up to the horizon, and then you'll get your 90, and then you can triangulate everything from that. And this is the 90-degree angle here from vertical. Yeah? Vertical, horizontal. And you've got a 90 because he says that that's where the horizon is. Now, I thought I'd come home and check this and see if I can find anything in that respect. And what I was able to find very quickly is that nowhere can I find a reference that says you need to align for a 90 or set up for a 90 or have a 90-degree angle. I can't find that anywhere in any of the references. And also, when I've listened to this guy talking, 10th Man and Nathan Oakley, they never once, ever, even though they've talked about the almanac, say what it says in the almanac about accounting for Earth curvature. I find that very interesting, seeing as that somebody's been studying this for over a year, and Nathan Oakley apparently and 10th Man have been talking about this behind the scenes now for many months. So much so now that Nathan is apparently an expert too, if you listen to today's show. So let's have a look at just something that I found, within 30 minutes of researching this. Here we go. So, WikiHow, how to use a sextant. Here we go. The first thing that pops up, the first thing that says you line up, right, using the horizon, right? So it says it here. And the horizon, right? Perfect. Exactly what 10th Man says. But then it says your reading will be less accurate if you're not making a measurement from the level of the horizon or sea level. You'll need to correct that difference to find the true altitude of the object you're observing. Oh, why will you need to correct for that? What does that mean? The difference between your elevation and the level of the horizon is called dip. Even if you're at sea level, you still need to make a dip correction to take into account the difference between the horizon level and the height of your eye. Oh dear, why is this never mentioned? For somebody that's been studying this for such a long time, you would think that they would know to include for the dip, right? But no, they don't include for the dip. Wonder why that is. Moving on, it says correct for dip to account for your distance above sea level. Dip refers to the difference between your elevation and the actual level of the horizon. To make this correction, multiply blah by blah, including your height in eye, meters, etc., etc., etc. Subtract this number from there. All the calculations are there. I haven't researched this, so I'm not going to just try and pretend that I know what I'm talking about right now. But it would seem that the almanac is saying to you, you need to account for curvature, right? And it gives you this formula here, right? 1.7 meters, blah, 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 25 meters off the shore, etc., etc., with sea level down here. And it gives you these calculations here to figure that out. In the bodge job over here with Nathan Oakley, they don't account for that at all. No, that isn't mentioned. Moving on, it says refracted versus the actual. Now, this is what I really love about the flat earth debates. They have this idea that something's refracted So you can't use that. But the Nautical Almanac actually addresses this. 3. Consult the Nautical Almanac to correct for refraction errors. It even tells you where to go. If you go to page A2 of the Nautical Almanac, it will tell you how to find the refraction correction tables. Oh, you couldn't make this up. You really couldn't make this up. This is after just 30 minutes. I've been at work all day. I've come home and I just thought I'd check this out. It's getting on a little bit. What time is it now? It's nearly 9 o'clock. So I started less than half an hour ago, maybe 40 minutes ago, something like that. And already I've found out that yes, it does account for refraction errors. Yes, that you have to account for the dip. Nowhere does it say that you have to find a 90, this 90 degree. And yet somebody with over a year's research into this hasn't presented that one single time at all. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. Flat Earth debate, 1478 live. Don't mention the 90 degrees. Oh, right. I'm going to play you a little bit of this abortion from today, and you guys can listen to it yourself. See what you think.
But it doesn't mean that the position you've used to gain that angle is a physical location, in this case the horizon, and the same applies to the star. The fact that you can work out the angle, the fact that you can drop a location that's directly below that star at that given location at that given time, based on your almanac, does actually work and does actually require the ground be flat. Doesn't mean that I can give you a position for a star in its three-dimensional space. It doesn't mean I can give you a position for the horizon in three-dimensional space. Doesn't mean I can tell you what those things are either. Give you a fair idea if our push came to shove about the horizon, but certainly not the stars.
Well, let me give you the reason why they use the horizon, because I'm more familiar with that. In researching the sextant since January 2020, they use the horizon because you can see it, and it's flat and it's horizontal, right, straight. And you need a 90. Well, that forms your baseline for your 90, because if you get the horizon, then straight above you is 90. If you tried it the other way around, it's impossible, especially on a ship that's in the water. It's hard to get the vertical to be your first solid line. So what they do is they use the horizon, because it's not like you're near land and you got a shoreline that you could shoot. You're in the middle of the ocean. What's your point of reference? Well, it's the horizon. So that's your baseline. Once you have a baseline, straight up is 90. But try it the other way around. It's very difficult. So that's why everything has to be brought down to the horizon. And since in the book, they got the 64 navigational stars positioned every hour, every minute, every second of the day and night, you're able to reference that to triangulate. But again, it goes back to angles, and you need a 90 right angle from the GP to you and to the star. That's why you see the square box in all the images that they put out. Flat Earthers didn't put that 90 degree box there. That's how it actually works. The people using the sextant are led to believe it works on the globe, but it doesn't, because you can't achieve an angle with a curved surface. That's just preposterous.
Is on screen for the audience. You've got your zenith, you've then got the GP of the star, which will be considered to be below at 90 degrees from where you measure it. So in terms of this depiction, it would be along this line. That's the angle. If you're at this position where it says zenith, meeting the bottom of this crazy notion of the ground curving away from you, that would put it lower in three-dimensional space, and it wouldn't give you the 90-degree angle that you must have in order to triangulate it.
It has to be perpendicular. You have to have that 90. This is the way the sextant works. And they do what you and Adam just talked about. After they measure it flat, they fool everybody and say it's on the globe. You can't put a two-dimensional circle with a straight radii on a globe. you lose a straight radius line, which means you don't have an angle anymore to the GP. It can't work. Sextant could only work on a flat surface. Need a zero baseline.
I can't take any more of it. I've had my fill. And what's happening here is that they're saying that it can't work on a globe, but the almanac actually says that once you've done your calculation, you then have to account for the dip. And when you've accounted for the dip, and then you've accounted for the refraction, then you can actually find your exact position. So in effect, if you're using the almanac, page A2, and you're looking around and you're trying to find where you are and you're assuming you're on a flat plane, well, you wouldn't use the dip. You wouldn't use that. And you also wouldn't use the calculation for that. You wouldn't use the calculation for refraction. So in effect, you wouldn't be able to find your position because it wouldn't work on a flat plane because the almanac is already built in to work on a globe. So I just don't get it. How are these guys not understanding this? The almanac actually tells you how to use this. And after a year and more of research, these guys still haven't worked it out, that if you just plug in what they're saying without accounting for dip, without accounting for refraction, you will get lost badly. And it only works on a globe when you actually account for dip and when you account for refraction. How has this escaped them? I just don't get it. Oh, this isn't less than an hour's worth of research, and it's very sad for the flat Earth and the flat Earth debate team. Nathan has quoted as being the year, get this, the year of the sextant. No word of a lie. He's literally titled it the year of the sextant, and I've debunked it in under an hour, and I am sure there are many, many other people out there that know far more than this, far more than I do on this, far, far more. And for all I care, I could have got things wrong. I could have got things wrong. I don't know 100%. I've only been researching it for under an hour, but already the almanac includes for dip and it includes for refraction, and it tells you this specifically. And after listening for the past couple of months to Nathan Oakleys debates, they never, ever, ever say that the almanac, you need to account for that in your calculations ever. It's never been brought up. So clearly they're being very, very deceptive. And in fact, I'm going to just call it out. Borderline lying to their audience. Borderline lying, because they must know. And there's never a 90. 90 is never mentioned in this. There's 90 degrees bollocks. It's never, ever, ever mentioned. Go and find a reference for that you have to account for a 90. It has to be a 90-degree angle. Absolute bullshit. That isn't the case. Anyway, this is me rambling. I'm just so cheesed off with these guys. I used to be in that community, and this is the level that they've sunk to. It really is so poor. So bad. Oh, please, next time Nathan Oakleys live, and if you're around, just keep spamming in the chat if you get the opportunity. Page A2 of the almanac. Page A2 of the almanac. See how quickly you get banned. See how quickly you get banned over there. Right. Okay, so I am going to end it here, and I will see you all in the next one.